Hello everybody in this new tutorial of Unity. Today I'll show you how to make a mission slider. So we continue on our last project. So here we have the mission button we deleted. So we'll add a new panel. Let's rename it to container panel. Container panel. So let's change the opacity to 0. This panel will contain other panels, so let's add a new panel and let's rename it missions panel. Let's resize it like this more a little bit and at the top, and let's make sure it's at the center. Okay, so now we'll add our resource, our sprites. So I prepared my sprites, drag and drop it into sprites folder. Let's create a new folder and we'll name it missions. So this folder will contain all the sprites of missions. So let's drag and drop our two items, two sprites to the missions, and let's change the texture type to 2D and UI, and let's make a high quality compression. Apply. So here we change the source image of our panel and let's change the opacity to 1 and it will be something like this. So now we'll add a new button. So in this panel we'll add many buttons that represent our missions. So here we delete the text and change the button name to, so you change the width and height to 115. Here we change the source image of our button. Let's resize it and let's make it at the top left. So here change the component name to mission button 1, and let's add a text mesh pro text, and here it will be the number of the mission or level. Let's change the color to the black and the font size to 30, maybe more letter bit 16, and let's resize dimensions. That's okay. So let's see, it will be something like this. That's cool. So here I duplicate, let's name the text mesh pro to text. After that we duplicate our button, so this panel can take 9 missions. So in order to do that, we'll duplicate the button on the second one. Let's drag it at the right, at the middle, and the second one to the top right. More a little bit. So here we change the component name to mission button 2 and the second one to the mission button 3. So after that we'll change the text to the number of mission. Here is the change 1 by 2. And now we'll duplicate the 3 button, Ctrl C, Ctrl D, and let's drag it to the middle. Let's change the button's name and the text. So here we have the button, mission button number 4, 5 and 6. So after that we change also the mission's text number. So here we have the mission number 6, number 5 and number 4. In the same way we duplicate this. So here we have something like this. So in the same way we duplicate this 3 button in order to have 9 missions buttons. Let's drop it to the button. So here we have our mission panel. So in the same way we'll change the component names. Make sure that this 3 button is at the middle and the third one at the bottom. So that's cool. Certainly you can use other sprites in order to make a design better. So here change the name to mission button 7, mission button 8 and mission button 9. Like other buttons, we have to update the number of mission. So you have something like this. We need to move it a little bit. That's cool. So now we'll duplicate the mission panel in order to have 18 missions button. Certainly we can make a lot of missions. So we can have 4, 5, 6 missions button. It depends on your game. So here at the same thing we'll rename it and change the position of this 8 and 9 buttons. It's not in the correct order. So here rename it to the 8 and change the text to 8 and rename the last one to 9 and change the text to 9. So the same way we'll update all the other buttons. We go fast now. So here I changed all my buttons to the right order and correct number. So here we'll add 2 buttons in order to slide the mission panel to the left or to the right. You can see it on Angry Bird or other types of games. So here we change the sprite of our button. We make the slide left symbol. We change the font size to 30. Maybe a little bit. So here we change the name to left slider button. That's slider. That's okay. So now we delete this button and duplicated the left slider button and rename it to right slider button. Drag it to the right. Cool. We change the dimensions to 200 by 100. Something like this. It's not bad. So here we change the symbol to slide right symbol, and maybe font size something like this. Make sure the alignment is at the center. So in the same way we change the dimension 200 by 100 and change the font size to 78, and make sure the alignment has the center and the top. So here we can change the dimension in 115 by 100. That's cool. Let's drag and drop. Let's drag it to the right and make sure it's always on the left. And here let's make sure that's our cool. So here we have something like this. It's our first panel, missions panel. So here we add a new script which called slider. So in this script we'll make the code behind in order to slide between the two panels. So here I need a game object which represent a container panel, and we'll need another game object. It will be array of missions panel. So here we can do many mission panels. In other case, in our case we use two missions panels. So here perhaps we'll need a game object for left slider button and right slider button. We'll add it here. We'll see after that if we need it or not. So we need also a current index. It represent the viewed mission panel. So by default it's the first one, it's the 0. And we need also the container panel position at the x-axis. So in start method we'll initialize the container position x to the container panel dot transform dot position dot x. So here we add two methods in order to slide left and slide right. So it will be slide to left method, and the second one it will be public void slide to right method. So here we need to add the logic in order to allow us to slide to the left. So we can slide to the left if the current index is greater than 0, which means that the viewed panel is number 1. So we can slide to the 0, to the panel number 0. And in the same way, in order to slide to the right, we have to have a current index is less than mission panel dot length minus 1. So first of all, we have to add 1 to the current index in order to slide to the right, and we have to make current index minus 1 to slide to the left. So here we need the target panel. We have to select the target panel, so it will be the mission panel array at the current index. It will be the target panel, and here we have to calculate the target panel position at the x-axis. So here we'll add a float target x position. It's equal to the container position x minus the target panel dot transform dot position dot x. So in the same way, we make Ctrl C, Ctrl V to slide to the right. So here we need to calculate a vector 3, the 3 dimensions, in order to make the animation. So here the target position, it will be a new vector 3. We'll make 1 for the x-axis, and for the u-axis and z, it will be the same thing like container panels. So our container panels will float on x-axis. So here we add container panel transform position dot u and container transform dot position dot z. So the x-axis, it will be the container panel transform dot position dot x plus the target position x, which calculated previously. So the target position will be the new placement of a container panel. The same thing on the right. Slide to the right, so Ctrl C, Ctrl V. So now we need to add a new package from Asset Store, which called iTween. It's a free asset. We can make animation. This one. Import. So now we can make transition. Here we make iTween dot move to. We have to give him the game object, the target game object. It will be the container panel and the new position. It will be the target position. And here, yes, it will be something wrong here. Target position X. Okay, it will be the target position. And a half of second the time of transition. So here we make Ctrl C, Ctrl V, it's the same thing. Slide to the right. So here in Unity Editor, let's select the background panel, drag and drop background panel to container panel, and left slider button and right slider button. So here I think we don't need this game object because we attach the events directly to the buttons. So delete it. And here let's select the left slider button and add a new event. Here on click, let's drag and drop our background panel, and here we can select our slider class and choose slide to the left. In the same way, we'll add a new event to right slider button. We drag and drop background panel to the on-click event object, and here we can choose slide to the right. So here we'll add the missions panel. It's an array of 2 elements, and here we can drag elements number 1 and elements number 2. And let's see what we have here. Awesome. Here we have the transition. So thank you for your watching. Today it was something like mission slider. Thank you for watching.